Hello there, and welcome to our office for osteopathic medicine. How are you doing today? Let's see. I hope by the time you leave our office, you feel even just the littlest bit better. Now let me grab your records real quick. Let's see. So it looks like you were interested in a general osteopathic treatment, and we had discussed also adding in a little bit for the treatment of insomnia. Is that correct? Alright, just wanted to make sure. Very good. So it looks like your medical history is all on the up and up. So I believe that we can certainly do that for you. Now, I would love to tell you a little bit about the history and background of osteopathy, if you don't mind. Wonderful. So osteopathy was founded by Dr. Andrew Taylor Still, and it's been around for a while. He founded his first medical school for osteopathy in 1892. And actually, the routine that we're going to do today is over 120 years old. It's been used for a long time to treat a lot of people. Now, Dr. Still believed that the body is quite like a machine in that if everything is running smoothly, if everything is balanced in alignment, that there isn't any reason that the body would have any pain or any disease. And in order to promote that harmony and balance in the body, to get to a disease-free state, a state where the body can achieve a sort of equilibrium, that it is essentially a self-healing mechanism, that we use certain types of manipulations in the body to reset everything, align everything, and promote healing and balance. So my job is to identify any impediments to the body's mechanisms, its properties, and manipulate the body so that those go away. Now, for acute conditions, we can do treatments once or even twice a day, at least until any symptoms would disappear, and then we could continue on about 2 to 3 times a week. Whereas chronic conditions, we don't want to do any more than twice a week, once to twice a week. Now, for this general treatment, this would be something that you could come back weekly, monthly, every few months, just to promote a general sense of health and well-being. So we are going to start this treatment with you lying down, and we're going to work on the neck to start. More the back of the neck. We'll be working with the cervical vertebrae and the muscles of the neck, but I'm going to have you in quite a few different positions. Might have you sitting up, might have you lying down, might have you with your legs pulled up. We're going to have you in all sorts of configurations so that I can adjust all the major systems of your body. So from this point forward, to treat you, I am going to need to be touching you. Is that okay with you? Do I have your consent to do that? Wonderful. So I am going to have you get all laid out. We'll get you comfortable and we'll start the treatment. Are you comfortable in this position? Good. And do you feel like you need any sort of support, perhaps under the ankles or the knees? Right. Just let me know if you do. And we are going to begin the manipulation treatment with the neck here. So I'm just going to take a look and make sure that we don't have any contraindications to the work. Are you feeling any pain or tenderness with this? Good. And any restriction in movement at all? Okay, very good. So we are going to start by working the cervical vertebrae. I'm also going to be working a bit on the lateral neck muscles. So I'm going to put my hand on top of your head here, while my other hand comes to rest by the cervical vertebrae. I am going to be rolling your head away from me while this other hand works the muscles and the bones. So I'm going to roll while the other hand works and pulls towards me. Come back and move down a vertebra. Roll the head while the other hand stretches and resets. Come back and work down. And we'll just continue to work down here. And we work until we get to C7. Good. And move down. Okay. And roll. How is this pressure? Tends to be a little firm, but it's because we're trying to manipulate bones and deep structures. Good. I'll give you a moment, and then we're going to work on the lateral muscles of the neck. So just like before, hand on the forehead, other hand on the side of the neck, roll while the other works the muscles. Good. Roll. Roll. Okay, and roll. Good. So I am going to flip to the other side, and we are going to do those same procedures on your other side of your neck. So now I'm going to be putting my hand on your forehead with my right hand, while the left hand comes to work the other side of the cervical vertebrae. So we're going to roll the head and work each individual vertebra. Move down, roll, just working the neck here. Roll back, move down, and roll forward, away from me there. Good. And roll back, reposition, and roll forward. There. We are just resetting each vertebra. Good. And that way the neck can be aligned and balanced and free from pain. Good. Give you just a moment to let that information sink in, and then we'll work on those lateral muscles. So, hand on your forehead, other hand on the side of the neck. Roll you away, and using just slightly bent fingertips here, not the very tips of them. Firm hand, but not digging in. Good. So I am going to come up and a little behind you, and we are going to stretch the neck. So I'm going to get up, and I'm going to put one hand under the chin and the other hand at the base of the neck, and we are just going to pull you up a couple times. Good, until the whole body moves. And then move from side to side, let you down, pull up, move side to side, let it down. Good. And you feel that little bit of space being created between the vertebra. So we just pulled up a little and stretched all of that out. Good. So I'm going to have you sit up. We're going to do one of our special moves. So I am just going to be treating the supraorbital notches here above the eyes, and this is one of the special moves to treat insomnia. Now it can also be used for headaches as well as any eye issues. And if we were using this for your eyes, we would press and hold here. But for the insomnia and to ward away any headaches, just going to use kind of a percussive motion. Just press and release real quick. least. I know it's kind of an odd place to have someone poking into. Okay, good. A little bit longer, and then we'll have you move onto your side, and we'll work on your back. Good. All right. So if I could have you lay back down on the table for me. Now we've got you on your side, and we're going to begin working the spine and the back muscles. I'm going to take your arm, and we're going to lay it over mine so that we open up the back. It gives us a little more room to work. So we are going to begin at T2. So you might know the little bump in your spine right at the back of your neck. That would be T1. We're going to move one vertebra down. And I am going to pull along the vertebra laterally and release and work down. T3, T4, and we are going to use a firm hand to stretch the tissue along the spine. Now I'm going to take your arm and we can pull it down for a moment. I'm going to finish the vertebra here. Just working down, down, down. And then we are going to do what's called springing the spine. So I am going to draw your legs up. So I'm going to hold up your legs here while I'm working the lower part of the spine. I'm going to do what we did with the thoracic vertebrae rather, and just stretch this. Good. And then for the springing of the spine, I'm going to work the opposite side of the spine. I'm going to come over here. Good. Yeah. Excellent. So I am going to just put you back real quick. And then put your arm over mine. And then I'm going to work the muscles more in the middle of the back. So we have T6 through T12. We're going to work a little further out though. Good. And this really opens up the back and brings a sort of lightness and ease to it that many people haven't experienced for quite some time. The back can get pretty over time. We're not often very good to our anatomy, not necessarily on purpose, it's just the demands of life and not necessarily knowing how it is we're actually supposed to move. And then I'm going to flip you over and we're going to work on the other side. Let's bring your arm up and over. Adjust everything here so that we can start again at T2 and work the muscles alongside the spine. T3, T4, all the way down to the 12th thoracic vertebra. And after we're working from the side, I am going to have you lay on your back. We'll work on the legs. We'll work on the internal organs. Get everything all tuned up. When using Dr. Still's concept of the body being like a machine, it makes much more sense to use the term tune-up. And put your arm down and get the last couple of vertebrae. And then I'm going to bring up your legs. Just like that. I will lift the legs and then we will work on the lower part of the back here, broadening out that area. All the way down to L5 with this one. Before I move the legs back down and put your arm back over my arm and broaden the back. And we'll come and work laterally from the spine, and we're working up and outwards for these muscles. Up and out, up and out. Get a good stretch in there. The fascia can get pretty stuck in here, but this will help take care of any low back pain for sure, especially if this area was quite compressed. I'll have you just turn onto your back. I draw up the legs, and this is pretty much how we are going to be for the rest of the treatment. So, legs pulled up, and we're going to start by springing the legs apart. So I am going to have you keep your legs in their position, and I'm just going to pull them apart so we can work on opening up the muscles on the inside of the legs. So just keep this triangular position, and I'm just going to work the legs, pulling out, pushing back in, pulling out, pushing back in. There we go. Good, and we'll give this a few reps. It's almost like exercise that is being done for you. We'll bring these in and out a few more times. Good. Okay. Just going to readjust you a bit here. We are going to work quite a bit on your internal organs. We're going to start with the liver, where I'm going to put one hand on your ribs and the other hand, this might be a little uncomfortable because I'm going to be pushing up underneath the ribs. So your liver's in this area right here. It's quite a large organ, and to get to it, we need to do a little bit of anatomical finagling, I suppose. So I'm going to push up here. And how is this? Okay, it's not too bad. So I'm going to do this sort of almost kind of rolling and kneading. I'm going to be pressing up and then towards me while the other hand pushes away. Does that make sense? So I'm going to go up and back while the other hand works away. So we're almost kind of stretching the area and kneading it. I'm going to work the most lateral side. And we're going to work towards the midline. I imagine this feels a little peculiar. It's not often that one has the liver manipulated. There we go. Towards the middle. And then I'm going to do the same thing, but on the opposite side. So with this, we're working the stomach and the spleen. So put my hands into position. One hand goes up and back. The other hand pushes away. There. And working from the outer abdomen inwards. I find it quite soothing, not only to work the abdominal organs, but to have them manipulated. It's a rather vulnerable area, but we don't often pay much attention to the abdominal organs when it comes to, for example, massage. But between the sort of rolling motion, the firm rolling of the organs, the heat from my hands, a bit of stretch, actually can be one of the more soothing parts. And then we're going to do some pressure in the mid-abdominal area alongside the navel. So I am going to just put the flats of my hands on the opposite side and opposite sides rather, and work towards me. Working outwards along the abdomen. A lot of these moves have some similarities to lymphatic drainage, for example, and we can see that sort of action happen with these, with this sort of pull and letting the skin kind of spring back. Good. And I'm going to go on the opposite side. I'm just going to work outwards and let the skin carry us back a bit. And then we're going to work with the sigmoid flexure, and we're going to manipulate the journey of the large intestine. So I'm going to bring the flats of my fingers. I'm going to come right by the hip bone here, and I'm going to work upwards. A lot of times here we've been working more out, but we're going to follow the path of the large intestine. I'm just going to keep working up And following around. Make sort of a lowercase n shape. If you look at it from above. All the way here, and then we'll get into the small intestines. For the small intestines, we're going to do kind of this kneading motion. We're going to press forward and pull back with the heel of the hand. Press forward, back, just like that. Press forward, pull back. Press forward, pull back. And we are going to work all around. Because the intestines occupy a very large area, miles and miles and miles, which is quite interesting to think how that's all arranged so that it can fit. Just like kneading dough. Till we come to the place that we started. So I'm going to have you come back up to sitting in your own time. We can talk a little bit about what you should do after the treatment, and we can let you go on your merry way. And there we are. Now, after your treatment, it is highly recommended that you rest for at least an hour and make sure to drink lots of fluids, water, tea, that sort of thing, and perhaps light meals afterwards. So how are you feeling after all of those little manipulations? Very good. So that will conclude your osteopathic manipulative treatment. I'd like to thank you so much for coming to our office to receive this treatment. I hope you have a whale of a day and a good rest of your night. Thank you. I wasn't able to give the full scoop on osteopathy in our short and sweet recap in the beginning, but osteopathy was started because at the time of Dr. Andrew Taylor Still, medicine was kind of whack. It often harmed a lot more than it helped, especially with the whole prescribing mercury and opium and whiskey and not washing our hands during surgery. You know, that old chestnut. So Dr. Still rejected allopathic medicine and created his own branch of alternative medicine with principles like avoiding drugs and working to achieve health in the most natural way possible. Osteopathy often pulled in methods or treatments from other types of alternative medicine at the time, like hydrotherapy. While it's easy for us to say over 100 years later that it's all a bunch of bunk and how did people believe in all this, but when the alternative caused sickness and infection in and of itself, it's much more understandable why people would turn away from allopathy until the industry started working a little more hygienically. I'd like to give a special shout out to the Internet Archive for being my girl and having the Manual of Osteopathy by Dr. Edward W. Goods from 1900. I'll have it linked in the description box, and if it piques your interest, you should check it out. It looks long, but most of it is pictures, and the whole thing is rather interesting to read about.
Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, it would greatly help me out if you clicked the like button and left a comment so YouTube's algorithm registers that it was a good video. If you want to see more of my work, consider subscribing to the channel. I create primarily medical, pseudoscience / alternative medicine, and personal attention ASMR roleplays. But I've done a little bit of everything from historical to sci-fi to fantasy. If you'd like to support the channel, I offer ad-free videos, early access on videos, and exclusive content on Patreon. Or I also have a Ko-Fi link for a one-time donation or a throne wish list for props and equipment. Thank you again, and I hope you have a whale of a day and a good rest of your